The story begins with our MC known as the Sword God, and he explains how his beloved world is destroyed. He was once a powerful man who loves going into battles and taking down monsters like they are nothing. This isn't a world of poets or flower shops. Everyone fights there. It's either cultivate your strength or get turned into monster sushi. He once fights for 10 years straight, and every monster he encounters is slain by his merciless sword. He is never afraid to engage in a fight or ever give up during battle. Soon afterward, his world gets destroyed and our guy encounters a powerful red-eyed beast leader. Confidently, he throws everything he has at the monster, but he soon realizes that the monster is way out of his league. After a few minutes into the battle, the beast already knows he is too overpowered for our guy, and he offers him a chance to become a soldier in his army, just so his talent doesn't go to waste. Sword God politely declined, and by politely, I mean he roared about never joining evil and tried to stab the guy again. Everything the Sword God does seems to be futile against this menace of a beast. Even the red-eyed beast has what it takes to confidently call our guide nothing but an insect. Nonetheless, the Sword God continues to make daring efforts in an attempt to take down the impenetrable beast standing in front of him. Unfortunately, this beast wasn't like the others. It treated Sword God's best attacks like mosquito bites and eventually swatted him to the ground. For the first time, the undefeated warrior looked like a man about to be defeated. The beast knocks our guy to the ground, ready to finish him off. Just as he was about to land the final blow, Sword God's bloodied eyes caught a glint, a shiny gem hanging from the beast's neck. Just before the finishing blow can land, our guy launches a powerful attack that shatters the gem. This happens to be devastating for the beast, as it turns out the gem is an important part of him. The beast immediately starts to lose his power and in anger, curses our MC for being such a brat. Our guy no longer needs to do anything else but just watch as the powerful beast gets turned into dust. After the battle is over, he lies down on the ground to watch the beautiful night sky shine upon him. Just then, the scene transitions to modern Korea, where a young man is walking toward a secure facility. This facility houses special areas known as gates. The gates are only to be accessed by registered heroes. It is strictly forbidden for civilians to enter the facility, but this young man barges through the gate without proper permission. The alarm goes off to tell the authorities about the unlawful entry into the gate area. Walking through the gate area, the young man runs into 3 guys and a lady who are heroes. These guys are wearing their combat outfits, while the young man is wearing a shirt and shorts. The 4 believe that he is lost and suggest that he exit the area. Since the 4 are heading out already, they suggest that he follow them. It is pretty obvious to them that the young man is not a hero, but even with their plea, he doesn't seem to care. He drops a casual yeah and says he just walked in. This further proves to the heroes that the guy is lost or something. The leader among the 4 believes that the guy entered the gate area to satisfy his curiosity. He lets our guy know that the gate area is not what is shown on the internet. The experienced hero says that walking into the gate area without a proper hero license is nothing short of stupidity. He tells our guy to get himself a license and loads of training before he even thinks about entering the gate area, as this isn't some playground. He mentions that the gate area is C grade. One wrong move and the only thing left of him will be his badly mangled body. The young man still doesn't care, he just thanks them by ignoring them and casually walks deeper into the gate zone, leaving the 4 heroes to question whether they just witnessed bravery or brain damage. One of them wants to stop the young man, but the team leader tells him not to. He wants the young man to suffer the consequences of his actions since he has refused to listen to them. Not long after, the young man finds himself face to face with a massive orc. The beast looks down on him, but our guy doesn't seem to be scared. The moment he realizes that the orc might want to attack him, he takes off his backpack. The orc swings at the young man, but he easily dodges it. Instead of being scared, he appears to be excited. He says something about 10 years, which suggests that he might be the Sword God or related to the Sword God. Then, with one punch, he relieves the orc of its head. No sword, no flashy moves, just like that, in one punch. Standing over the defeated orc, he mentions nothing is different at all. After defeating the orc, the young man reaches for its sword and uses it to pry into its headless body to dig out a gem. He holds out the gem and confirms that it is a low-grade gem. The expression on his face doesn't scream excitement. If anything, he looks mildly insulted. In another world which is filled with stronger enemies and far more satisfying battles, he wouldn't have even looked twice at such a weak creature, let alone dug through its corpse for this kind of gem. But here he is playing scavenger in a low-tier gate. Just as he is about to slip the unimpressive gem into his backpack, a new group of orcs arrives on the scene. Judging by the rage in their eyes, these particular beasts aren't big fans of what happened to their headless buddy. Without any warning, they lunge. They swing at him, but he dodges the attack with ease. He is now face to face with some really angry orcs that will do anything to make sure he tastes dust. On the other hand, the heroes he met earlier believe that our guy must be dead by now. The woman among them seems concerned, her brows raised in quiet worry. But her companion waves it off, reminding her that the mysterious civilian had chosen this suicidal path all on his own. The team leader nods in agreement, pointing out that by now, the system would have flagged the intruder and gate control would have already dispatched elite agents to find him, forcefully if needed. Considering this is a C-rank gate, B-rank agents are the minimum requirement. And sure enough, those agents are already en route, preparing themselves to rescue what they assume will be a very bloody, very broken civilian. The heroes assume that our guide must have met some monsters by now, and he is probably trembling in their presence. How wrong could they be, because our guy is not the one shitting his pants, but the orcs. The orcs he's facing have witnessed firsthand just how F they are. The orcs can only try as our guide punches them around before finishing them one after the other. Once he is done eliminating them, he brings out the sword and uses it to pry out the gems. He is able to acquire a few more gems from the beasts he just eliminated. Moments later, he is done with the orcs, and just as he is about to proceed further into the gate area, the elite agents arrive on the scene. By the time he wipes his hands clean, the number of defeated orcs has climbed past 20. He has been able to get himself 12 low-grade magic stones and 16 mid-grade. Our guy is surprised when he hears the agents behind him. They arrive on the scene looking breathless and thinking they wouldn't find him alive. Without wasting time, the agents tell our guy that they are from the control center. He has to show them his hero license, and failure to do so means he will have no choice but to follow them back to the control center. Our guy is shocked to learn about the control center, and he wears a disgusted look. The agents notice this and suggest that he comply with their instructions. Still, the young man doesn't flinch. To him, these armored professionals aren't threatening. They are just loud mosquitoes in uniforms. The leader of the elite team tells his junior officer to get his handcuffs out, ready to take our guy into custody. The junior officer probably notices the insane aura coming from our guy as he brings out his handcuffs. With fear in his body, he humbly requests that the young man follow their instructions. Failure to do so might push them to apply physical pressure. Before our guy knows what is happening, one of the agents has already grabbed him by the wrist. They let him know that any damage he suffers while resisting will be on him and him alone. They continue with their preaching about going back to the control center so they can settle things without having to cause trouble. However, the young man turns the table around and grabs the agent by the hand instead. Fear grips the agent as he can sense the menacing aura coming from the young man. Our guy simply tells the agents to stop being annoying and just go back to the control center. Being the agents in charge of keeping the peace, they obviously cannot take the offer. The other agents immediately whip out their weapons. The young man notices that the weapons are 4th-grade magic sealing devices. He's not worried at all because this might work on orcs, but definitely not him. Our guide puts the agent he is holding in a position of pain to send a warning to the others so they back off. He reinstates his stand, telling the agents to leave if they don't want to get hurt. The words are calm, but everything about him screams danger. From his aura to his posture, there isn't a shred of hesitation in him. He isn't afraid, and he definitely isn't bluffing. He is so confident that he just doesn't care. And for the agents trained to uphold peace and order, this is the worst kind of enemy I might have to go against, because he has power, but no patience for rules. The agents, though clearly shaken by the young man's overwhelming aura, refuse to back down. With grim determination, they charge forward, swinging their staffs in a coordinated attempt to restrain him. Yet their efforts fall flat as he remains rooted, completely unfazed, like a mountain refusing to acknowledge the wind. Finally, he decides to fight back. One by one, he delivers brutal, precise blows that drop the agents faster than they can react. The team leader, still trying to process the chaos, attempts to keep up with the young man's movements. But it is like chasing a ghost. In the blink of an eye, the young man appears in front of him. A single well-placed punch to the gut sends the leader crashing to his knees, gasping for air as though life itself has betrayed him. When he finally manages to stand up, all he can do is stare at the young man. Our guy asks him if registered heroes have no problem entering the gate area, and the agent says yes. As long as the heroes do not do anything illegal while in the gate area, there is no need for agents to come in. Just then, our guy hits the agent with a heavy question. The young man asks about the fractured zones, commonly known as rifts. According to the agent, gates are passageways to other worlds, used by monsters to breach the human realm. Because of the high danger and valuable resources inside, the government has long taken control of these areas. All harvested items, particularly magic stones, are regulated and filtered through official channels. Many of these stones, once processed, serve as alternative energy sources for modern society. On the other hand, there are passage areas that haven't been turned into gates yet, and these areas are known as the rifts or fractured zones. Our guy is disappointed to learn that no matter which area he goes to, whether gates or rifts, the government will always come to poke its nose in his business. There is no avoiding the authorities because anytime an unregistered hero enters the gates, the said person is flagged and agents are immediately dispatched to take care of the situation. Since the fractured zones are even more dangerous, the Hero Association does not allow anyone to enter. After hearing all of this shit, our guy starts to wonder what he can do. Meanwhile, the lead agent wishes he had requested backup from headquarters before engaging the young man. The young man pushes the agent out of his way as he turns around to leave. He leaves the agent with a warning that he is going to eliminate him if he ever comes across him again. A flashback shows the sword god levitating in the spirit realm with no purpose. This is when he meets this young man who goes by the name Seo Dojin. Dojin is dying and he makes a request of the sword god. The sword god has no one in his life again and doesn't think it is worth living another life, but he decides to hear what Dojin has to say. Dojin proceeds to make his wish, but the scene cuts. However, it is clear that Dojin died and the sword god took his place in the modern world. Now in the present, the young man, also Dojin, walks into a hero complex where he plans to sell the magic stones he just collected from hunting down the orcs. He steps into one of the stores, greeted by a suspiciously cheerful attendant who promises some of the best prices in all of Seoul. Dojin places the blood-stained stones on the table, prompting immediate disgust from the attendant. He scolds our guy for not washing the blood off the stones. However, the attendant is impressed by how many magic stones the guy has to sell. He tells Dojin to take his seat while he sorts the payment. He also offers him coffee while he waits. After making the calculations, the attendant tells Dojin that the store will take a 40% commission and what Dojin will be getting is just over 5 million won. Our MC is absolutely disgusted when he hears the ridiculous offer, reminding the attendant that he is the one who did all the hunting. He doesn't think the store has any right to take a 40% commission when all they are doing is just buying from him. The attendant tries to justify this by saying they usually take 45%, but he is only cutting it down out of the goodness of his heart. The attendant blatantly tells Dojin to take the stones if he is not willing to sell. Without hesitation, Dojin packs the stones, ready to leave, but the attendant grabs his hand. He tells Dojin that the coffee he took is not free, and helping to clean the stones is also not free. In total, the attendant claims Dojin is already owing them 350,000 won. However, Dojin has no money on him, and even if he had, he is not willing to give. The attendant sees this as a big opportunity to flex. He claims the store has C-rank heroes stationed for security, and it would be in Dojin's best interest to pay up. Just as he says this, a couple of stern-looking guys come out from the back. These are the C-rank heroes, and they are the store's security team. Without being told, Dojin already knows that the guys smell nothing but trouble. In no time, a fight breaks out between Dojin and the C-rank heroes. However, the heroes are nothing compared to Dojin. He easily dispatches them and puts all of them in very awkward positions. Watching the chaos unfold, the once confident attendant cowers behind his desk, trembling. Dojin walks up to him, calm but commanding, and informs him that legally the store is not allowed to take more than a 1% commission. The attendant doesn't even think to argue. He quickly nods, face pale, agreeing to the revised deal. As Dojin turns to leave, he shoots a cold glance over his shoulder and assures the attendant that he will be back to do business again soon. Whether it is a promise or a warning is unclear, but the message sure lands. When Dojin returns home, he shows his grandmother the money he just made, leaving the old woman totally blown away. Dojin lives with his grandmother and his half-sister named Eun-young. The woman is curious to know where Dojin got the money from, and on the spot, Dojin manages to come up with a rather convenient lie. He tells the old woman that he once lent a friend of his some money. The friend is in business, and now the business has become lucrative, which is how he was able to get the money. Even with this lie, the old woman looks skeptical, but has no choice but to believe her grandson. Young wears a happy smile as she calmly asks her brother if they are now rich, to which he says yes. He assures the little girl that they have nothing to worry about again from that moment forward. The girl cannot hide her happiness as she jumps around the room in excitement. In a brief flashback, the real reason behind Dojin's actions is revealed. Before his death, the original Seo Dojin had made one final plea to the sword god to take care of his family. The sword god, who had once floated in the void with nothing left to live for, agreed. And when he opened his eyes, he had become Dojin. The sword god has no issues keeping his promise to Dojin, but he wishes he could get all of his strength back. The gates and the fractured zones are nothing but child's play to Dojin compared to what he had to face in his original world. Even now, not even 10% of his power has returned to him, and he already feels good. Moments later, Dojin hears some guys calling for him from outside the house. He stands up to go check, but tells the old lady and Young to stay inside. He opens the door to see two ugly-looking crooks waiting for him. Apparently, the original Dojin owes them money, and they are there to collect what they are owed. The guys claim that Dojin owes them 48 million won. From the original Dojin's memory, the sword god realizes that the guys are from a loan shark. Dojin borrowed 5 million won from them to settle his grandmother's hospital bills. However, the original 5 million has become 10 times that amount in such a short space of time. The crooks are there to collect money from him again since they have learned that Dojin just returned from the gate, and it is evident that he brought some money back with him. The crooks blatantly tell Dojin that they are there to collect all the money since it is part of their crooked contract. Without arguing with them, Dojin swiftly goes into action. He delivers a clean left hook that sends the bigger thug flying, leaving the other guy in shock and fear. It turns out that Dojin has paid back 9 million won, which is almost twice the amount he borrowed, but the thugs just won't leave him alone. In fact, he should be the one taking back from the thugs and not the other way around. The other thug cannot believe his eyes, and he starts to wonder if the person standing in front of him is the Dojin that they all know. Dojin decides to leave the other thug untouched. He uses him to pass a message to his boss, telling him that he will visit him very soon. And by visiting, the thugs should already know they are in the wrong line of business. Later on, Dojin decides to take his sister out shopping. Their first stop is the doll shop, and the little girl cannot hide her excitement when she learns that she can buy any doll of her choice. The sword god was once a person with no emotions, but sharing memories with Dojin has completely changed him. He doesn't fully commit to his emotions, but for now, he feels sympathy. The sword god is amazed at the fact that Dojin was kind to Yeon even though she is his half-sister. The sword vows to protect the kind heart that Dojin has even if he leaves everything else. Out of shyness, Yeon picks a small doll to buy, but our favorite MC swaps the doll for a big one. He then reminds her that she is free to buy whatever she wants. Once again, the little girl's face lights up in excitement. After they are done shopping, they find a place to eat. They are in the middle of their meal when Dojin hears a lady's voice calling him from behind. The lady is escorted by 2 security guards, and she wastes no time being rude to Dojin. She makes fun of Dojin and asks him where he found the little girl he is eating with. She wastes no time assuming that Dojin has gotten someone pregnant just like his mother did. While the drama is unfolding, Eun can only wonder who the lady is, and Dojin simply turns, ready to deal with yet another unwelcome ghost from his past. The rude lady walks up to Yeon to ask her what her name is. After learning what she is called, she still uses that to trash talk her. She talks down to the little girl and how she is dressed. The rude lady is not done causing problems as she turns back to look at Dojin. She tries getting him to talk, but the guy refuses to say anything, probably to keep his cool. The annoying lady still shifts her focus to little Yeon, asking her if she knows what a bad word like means. Dojin has had enough of the lady and finally speaks out. He calls her an ugly lady who looks nothing short of an orc. The insult hits like a slap. The woman staggers slightly, clearly not expecting that kind of blunt retaliation. In Dojin's backstory, it turns out that he was a child born out of an affair, which caused him to live in poverty. After his mother died at the young age of 7, he barely managed to get to the home of his biological father. He lived in his father's house for 10 years. All those years, he suffered nothing but contempt and discrimination. After his father's legitimate wife gave birth to his son, Dojin's existence completely faded away. He was ignored and then finally kicked out. He was forced to go live with his grandmother and his half-sister he had not met prior to that time. Seeing the memories for what they were of the sword god felt a new kind of rage, not for himself, but for the boy whose body he now occupied. That kind of life that Dojin lived, no one deserved it. However, now that he is in control, the sword god is ready to turn things around. Dojin stands up to look at the lady who turns out to be his stepsister. He lived with the annoying lady for 12 years, so he knows just how bad she is. He holds nothing back when he tells her that she looks ugly, and not just on the outside, but also on the inside. He further adds that the lady is stupid, which is why she finds it hard to study. Dojin continues with his harsh but needed words. He tells the lady that she is terrible, and even the fact that she has an inferiority complex toward women who are prettier or kinder than her. In fact, Dojin believes Eun is far better and prettier than the annoying lady. Each word chips away at her pride. Her face turns red, trembling with fury and shame. Even her bodyguards stand stiffly, unsure of what to do. This wasn't a physical fight. It was emotional warfare, and they were witnessing a complete and disastrous defeat. Just then, another voice appears in the back. It turns out to be Dojin's stepmother. Her daughter rushes over to her to tell her everything bad Dojin said to her, but she outright ignores her. The woman shouts at her daughter, telling her to keep her damn mouth shut. The woman then turns her attention toward Dojin and tries the friendly approach. She wonders why Dojin has not yet come visiting. However, all of her sweet words cannot get to Dojin. since he knows she is nothing but a snake. He doesn't hide his feelings as he calls her a fake person. He suffered for 12 years in the hands of this woman, and now she's trying to act all nice to him. Without holding back, Dojin tells her to get lost. This hits the woman so hard that she freezes in embarrassment before finally turning around to leave. She also has an internal conflict as she tries to figure out what changed in Dojin. He is not the usual Dojin whom they bully in however way they like, and he wouldn't even say anything. As she walks away, her daughter runs after her. After the two annoying women are gone, Dojin also tells Eunyoung that it is time for them to leave. The once upon a time preyed on Dojin is gone, and this version of him doesn't take shit from anyone. Dojin hopes that his enemies realize this quicker for their own good. Inside a black car, driving away in the distance, tension rises. Dojin's stepsister scolds her mother for not dealing with Dojin. She cannot get all the bad words Dojin said to her out of her head. As usual, her mother just ignores her, and she turns to the manager to ask him why Dojin is still alive. The manager replies that the last report he got was that Dojin was abandoned in the gate area to die. However, they are torn apart by the mystery of how someone who should be dead is still very much alive. The manager apologizes for the inconvenience, promising to look into the issue again. It finally struck the stepsister that her mother had previously arranged to have Dojin eliminated, but somehow he miraculously survived. She wastes no time asking her mother if she still likes Dojin, but the woman says no. Before her daughter could say anything else, the woman leaned over and covered her mouth. She reminds her that it is going to be a big problem for them if her husband or grandfather hears about the conspiracy to finish Dojin. The woman urges her daughter to keep her mouth shut and also to mind her own business. Inside, the woman was boiling with rage. Not only had Dojin survived, but he had also humiliated her and her daughter in public. That humiliation wasn't something she could easily forget. Her desire to erase Dojin from the picture had just tripled. If you like this video, please consider subscribing and watching the next video on your screen. Also, let me know what you think by leaving a comment down below, and feel free to suggest what you want to see in the next video.